mateys. Hey, you know, I've been wanting to upgrade the galley for a while. Two of the things that I want to put in is a new faucet and a new sink. You know, this faucet that I have, it's more of a residential. It belongs in a home. It takes up too much space. The sink, it's got pinhole leaks in it. So I got a new faucet and a new sink. But not just from anybody, but from Ambassador Marine. Now, they've been in business for over 25 years, making sinks and faucets for RVs, residential, commercial, and most importantly, for the marine industry. Got to check out their website. They have got some very talented designers. I mean, they make the stainless steel, but they also make the porcelain and the glass, and again, those are formulated for the environment, built for the environment. For example, now I went with the stainless steel sink. Look at this thing. Isn't that beautiful? Now there's two basic types of stainless steel. There's a 304 and a 316. Now I'm not a chemist. I don't know all that goes into it. I just know from researching the 304 is more resilient to corrosion. It's going to hold up better underneath the marine environment. It's thick. It's made with a sound reduce. You know how stainless steel is, bang around. Well, this has got sound coat technology into it. Again, I don't know what that means, except that it's going to be a lot nicer than a standard sink. And you're not going to find this kind of stuff in a big box store. Not the right sizes. It's not going to be made to withstand the marine environment. I mean, even looking at the drain. You know, I'm sure you've put a sink in at home. You know, you got all this little putty stuff to do and that. Well, this is going to go into a hose for a drain. So here's the drain. Went to the hardware store, picked up an adapter. Wanted a straight one. Barbed. It's going to go right into the hose. Made for the marine environment. Thinking ahead. Look at this faucet. You know, you may say, oh, it's a faucet. No, again, built for the environment. Got stainless steel parts in it instead of plastic or steel like you would get on a household. Even look at the flex too. I mean, this is flex. You know, most of the time you get these, it's got that straight copper thing. You got to try to built for the marine environment. It's going to be great. Well, we're going to put this in. I'll show you how it's going to install. I started this project off thinking I was just going to epoxy everything and just use a colored epoxy and make it look nice. And then I thought, well, maybe I can get a piece of corian and put that in and it would look nice. Well, I kind of fell short on the corian part of things. So I started doing this. But then my friends came through and I got a piece of corian. So now I'm winding up with this. Looks really nice. Now, one other thing, don't throw the box away until you get the sink installed. At least get the hole cut, because the size that you need to cut the hole is on the box. So, you know, I measured it and I thought, oh, I'm in pretty good shape. Well, I measured it at 11 and a half and it was 11 and 3/4. I would have had a lot of cleaning out to do had I stuck with that original measurement, but I checked the box, so I went and I'm okay. Well, guys, you see what I've got. You know, this really isn't a good kitchen faucet. The sink is, I've got fiberglass underneath, some epoxy and stuff to keep it from leaking. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take this out. We're going to be putting this sink in. Yeah, I know I'm putting a round sink in a square hole. I'm going to show you how we're going to fix that up. Look how nice that is. And look at this. Now, what I really like about the Ambassador products, of course, first of all, they're marine grade, you know, so they make them for the boating industry. Look at the small footprint this has. All right, I got the sink out, and it had rounded edges here. So I squared that off to make it a little easier for myself, what the heck. And then sanded down so I got to some bare glass, so when I fit this in, the fiberglass has got something good to hold on. Of course, I'm going to be supporting it below too. And you can see down below here, this is pretty much a mess. So while I've got this out, I'm going to go ahead and paint that and clean that up a little bit. I set the board on top, then came down underneath here and drew my lines to cut it. We'll see how it fits. Alright, let's see how it fits. This will be interesting, guys. Oh yeah, it's going to be nice and snug. That's what I want. I want it snug. And what I'm going to do is I'll put, maybe it's a little too snug. Oh no, we're good, we're good. But now, just to be on the safe side too, I'm going to put some little strips underneath here to hold that in place. Alright, here we go. Well, you see I've got my piece of corian here. I cut that out. I routed the edges, got my holes cut, even got a backer board for it. And now to attach this here, I'm going to use a good marine sealant. We're going to put that on, clamp it down, let it sit for a couple hours. And now don't be bashful with the sealant. Get that around everywhere where you might have some water penetration. And of course, when we put the sink in, that's also going to have the sealant around it. So press that down nice. Get another clamp over there. See, I put a piece of tape along here so that this extra sealant, when I pull that off, I don't have a lot of cleanup. Now that the silicone and the sealant has dried, I'm going to put the faucet in. And the way this works, we put this in the hole first. Then the black washer goes in, this metal backing plate, and then the tightening plate. Now the thing is, we don't want to tighten this too much because we want this to be able to turn. And I've also found it's easier to put, oh, you see I've also pre-taped these before I put them in. Put these in first, then drop that in. You see how easy that is? And I'm going to hook the faucet up, do all the plumbing on this before we put the sink in. That way I've got room to work on things. One other point, once we get this all hooked up, we're going to pull this out, take this off, run the hot and cold water for about a minute to kind of flush everything out before we start running it through the strainer. Oh, and for the water feeds, I'm using the stainless steel flex hosing on this. Now the last part of the connection is to connect the hose here. I'm going to pull this little safety or protection valve off. We snap this in until we hear it click. There we go. You know what, guys, I almost forgot to tell you about putting that weight in for the pull-out faucet. Now I've got the faucets on. So far everything looks good. We're ready to put the sink in. And when we put the sink in, you know, again, You want to use a good marine sealant and caulking. We're going to lay a nice heavy bead all around this. Alright, I think I'm good now. I got that all squared away. Drop this in. Snug it down. All the way around, nice tight fit. And now I hook the drain hose in, double clamped. We're ready to give her a test. Well guys, how great does that look? You know, here's the plug for it too. I'm going to take the chain off. I don't really like the chain, but that works in there. I mean, this is so shiny. Look at this. I can see myself in the faucet. Hi guys. Isn't that great? Now I'm not saying it's going to make washing the pots and pans and dishes more enjoyable, but man, it sure adds a touch of class to this old boat. Well, happy and safe boating to you, your family, and friends.